What's up? What's up, guys? And welcome to another episode of the Powerhouse Mentality podcast. I'm your host. I'm Caitlin Kenneth Smith. And on today's episode of the podcast, I really want to discuss how to overcome negative thoughts. Or I really want to focus on the topic of negative thoughts as a whole. I want to talk a little bit about anxiety. I want to talk a little bit about negative thoughts, about gratitude, and about regret. Because I feel like so many people, what they do, and I've definitely been there and I definitely am still guilty of this. I'm not perfect. I'm not a robot. I'm a human being. I have feelings and emotions, and so are you. So you're never going to be perfect. And if you expect to be perfect and that expectation isn't met, then you're constantly feeling like you're letting yourself down when in all reality, you're just setting expectations incorrectly. Perfection is prison. Perfection is bullshit. Now, all you can do is do the best damn job that you can do and understand that some days are going to be much more difficult than other days. But what I find that a lot of people do is that they spend so much time worrying about the past, worrying about the future, that they forget to live their life. They forget to live and appreciate the present moment. And what I want you guys to know, and I want you guys to continue to remember and remind yourself of this, is that no amount of regret is going to change the past. No amount of anxiety or fear is going to change the future. But any amount of gratitude can change the present. Look, I understand that the journey that you're on is unbelievably challenging. I know that some days you feel like you're on top of the world. Some days you feel like nothing can stop you. But then other days it feels like life kicked you really hard in the face and you fell to the floor. And then life just continued to kick you in the side so that you couldn't get back up. I get that. I know it's unbelievably challenging, but I don't want you to forget to appreciate where you're at on your journey. Because each and every stage of the journey is extremely valuable. The good, the bad, the ugly, the horrific, all of those things happen for a reason. And I'm a true believer that everything does happen for a reason. And I know that a lot of people think that's stupid. And that's okay because it's my opinion and I'm allowed to have my opinion just like you're allowed to have your opinion. But every morning you get to wake up and you have two different options. You get to leave your dreams in your sleep, or you get to wake up and you get to chase your dreams. And it's always your choice. But because you're so stuck in the past and you're stuck with regret, and because you're so anxious about the future, that you forget to take action and appreciate the present. You forget to live your life. You're so worried about life that you forget to live it. And I was having a conversation with a client today when we were on our client call. And this client specifically, shout out, her name is Christina. She's been on an incredible journey when it comes to her health and her fitness. She's a mom of 3. She's a massage therapist. She's now a CrossFit coach. And I was talking to her and I was like, you know what? I'm really damn proud of you because I know how hard your journey has been. And I know how much fear and doubt that you had in yourself throughout the journey. But you took action regardless. Like, I know that last year when she took her CrossFit Level 1 certification to become a CrossFit coach, she was excited because she loved CrossFit and she wanted to be able to help people and be a coach. But I also know she was terrified to do it. Same thing when she did her first CrossFit competition. She was terrified to do it, but she did it. And on the other side of your fears is the life and the person that you want to be. How many times have you overcome something that you were afraid to do and regretted it? Very rare. But how many times have you overcome something that you've been afraid to do and you're so excited for yourself? You almost have that like little bit of high, like that endorphin high. I know that, and this might be a silly example, but I think that people can probably relate to it, is that if I do something that I've been putting off or do something that I know is going to be extremely painful and uncomfortable, for example, if I look at my training and I have a really tough piece, and I'll use an example from last week actually, because this is exactly what happened, is I had a workout last Monday, and you can check it out on my YouTube channel. Yes, I am back on YouTube. So if you haven't seen the vlogs, go check out my YouTube page. It'll always be down in the show notes below. And you can really follow my day-to-day journey, because what I'm doing is vlogs documenting the journey of becoming a professional CrossFit athlete while building a brand and building a business, doing the podcast, doing coaching, and just gives you like a little bit of taste. But I did a workout where it was every minute on the minute for 30 minutes. In the first minute, it was a 13-calorie air assault bike. In the second minute, it was a 200-meter run. And the third minute was a rest. And you repeat that for 30 minutes, so it comes out to 10 rounds total. It was absolutely miserable. And when I saw it in my programming the day before, because I got an email on Sunday and I was like, ooh, programming. And I saw it, I was like, crap, that's going to be very painful. And I might fail it. Side note, I didn't fail it because I had a moment in the middle of the workout where I thought to myself, well, I might fail this, but if I don't want to fail it, I'm going to have to make it hurt a lot. So I made it hurt a lot and I didn't fail. But I remember from the moment that I saw that workout in my email to the moment that I finished that workout, I was terrified to do it. I had like butterflies in my stomach as I was about to hit the start button. I was thinking about it all morning. I was nervous as hell. And then as soon as I finished it, like after the initial horror and pain wore off a little bit, I was like so excited. Like I was talking to my husband. I was just like amped up, like just in a good mood because I'd overcome something that I knew was going to be really scary and really painful. And I did it. Like how many times in your life do you do something scary and painful and then regret it? Usually you learn something from it. And usually you have this sense of accomplishment that can't be touched by anything else. In my opinion, there's literally no better feeling than effort. Like when you go all in on something and you give it everything that you have and you survive it, you come out on the other side, that feels good. And I don't think enough people accomplish that feeling. But when you do accomplish that feeling, or when you do have that moment, that's when you really become addicted. You become addicted to the process. You become addicted to the results. But unfortunately, I find that too many people are unwilling to seek discomfort to the point that they never get to experience that. So then they kind of remain stuck in this state of limbo where they want something, but they're not willing to truly do what it takes because they say that they want something and then they start researching it. They start planning. They start looking up all these things and they start getting overwhelmed by all the different ways that they can go. So then they have that paralysis by analysis, or they know what it takes and they say they want something, but then they start the process and they realize that it's much more difficult or much more painful than they thought it would be. So then they quit because it's too much. When in all reality, they just had their expectations set too low for how much it would take. To be successful, to be great, to accomplish anything that you want in life, you have to understand that it is going to be way more challenging than you think it's going to be. And it's going to take much longer than you want it to take, than you think it's going to take. I talk all about this with my clients when it comes to starting a fat loss journey. Understand that if you want to start a fat loss journey or any sort of a fitness journey, whether it be building muscle, focusing on performance, focusing on longevity, or losing fat, it will take longer than you want it to take, and it will take longer than you think it will take. But that's the only way to ensure that you make it sustainable. People want the quick fix. The quick fix isn't the fix because the quick fix gets you right back to where you started even faster. You might see results initially, but you go right backwards because it's not sustainable. So when it comes to regret, when it comes to negative thoughts, when it comes to gratitude, when it comes to anxiety, how do all of these things connect and how can we overcome them one step at a time? All right, so we think about regret. You can't allow regret to hold you back. And a lot of people do because they have so much regret of the past that they stay stuck there. Well, what if I did this? Well, what if it went this way? Well, it didn't, and you didn't do it. But every single day is an opportunity for you to take action and make a change. And the only way that you're going to change is if you do something different. Insanity, we've all heard the definition of insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over and over again, but expecting a different result. If you want to make a change in your life, if you truly want to become a different version of you, a better version of you, a stronger, more resilient version of you, if you want to look in the mirror and be proud of the person staring back at you and be somebody that your family looks up to and be somebody that everybody in your life looks up to, then you have to do something different. You can't continue to say, I'm going to wake up in the morning and work out and then hit snooze every single time because you're too tired and the bed's too warm. It's going to take more than you think it will take. It's going to be uncomfortable. And once you can accept that, then you can understand that, hey, if you have any regrets about the past, cool, you can't change the past, but what you can do today in the present moment is you can take action to change the future. Regret usually comes because you didn't take action on something. There are moments when you take action and you maybe regret it, but usually it doesn't work out that way because with action, even with failed action, like if you take action and you fail, say I started a business and my business failed, I still learned from that experience. So I got something out of it. I got education and I got experience to be able to say, cool, I did it this time last time and it didn't work. So now I'm going to take a different approach and try to be more successful. So any amount of action gives you something. It gives you success. It might even give you failure. But with failure comes education, comes learning, comes experience that you can take and build on. So if you regret something, let it go. Let it go. There's nothing more freeing than letting something go. And I know that there's a lot of you who are listening to this who might be like, you know what, Caitlin, you don't understand what I've been through. And maybe I don't. But I've been through a lot of shit too. And so has everybody. And it's not a competition on who's been through more shit, because that's a victim mentality and that's not going to get you anywhere. But the only thing that's going to get you through is by you taking responsibility to heal. It may not be your fault about what happened to you, whatever you're going through. It may not be your fault. But what is your responsibility is to heal and to move on and to take action towards bigger, better things. You deserve abundance. You deserve success. You deserve happiness. You deserve it. So don't allow something that happened in your past or somebody who happened in your past to try to convince you otherwise, to try to tell you that you're not enough, because you are. And the only way that you're going to start to see that you are enough is through taking action. Words are cool, but action speaks way louder than words. I don't care how many affirmations you scream in the mirror in the morning. They mean shit unless you take action behind them. So that's regret. What about anxiety? So we have anxiety for one of two reasons, or both. Some people like to dabble in both. Most people like to dabble in both. So we have anxiety because we're focusing on the things that we can't control, or we procrastinate the things that we know we need to get done in order to become the person we want to be or reach a particular goal, but we're not taking that action. So we're procrastinating, or we're focusing on things that we can't control. If you're somebody who struggles with focusing on things that you can't control, I want you daily to do this. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Write down all of the things that are overwhelming you and all of the things that are stressing you out. All of the things that are causing that anxiety. Then after that 5-minute timer is up, I want you to look over what you wrote, cross off all of the things that you can't control, and then circle the things that you can control and attack those things. Because that's going to solve both of those problems. You're not going to be focusing on what you can't control because you cross those things off the list. They do not matter. And then you're circling the things that you can control and you're attacking them. So you're attacking procrastination and you're overcoming that. So if you have anxiety about the future, let it go. Take action. Again, action cures everything, including self-doubt, including anxiety, including regret. And like I said, any amount of gratitude can improve and change your present. So that's where the negative thoughts come into play. How many times has somebody told you, hey, just don't think negatively, like be positive? Man, every time somebody tells me to be positive, I kind of want to smack them across the face. But it's probably not the most positive thing to do, so I'm not going to do that. Now, when it comes to negative thoughts, you can't just eliminate them. Because if I ask you, hey, just don't think negative thoughts, you're going to think negative thoughts. Just like if I were to say, hey, don't think about zebras, I bet all of you listening are thinking about zebras. So you can't just say, I'm not going to think negative thoughts, because naturally, as humans, we want to rebel, so we're going to do exactly the opposite of what we say in that sense. So instead of just saying, I will not be negative, replace it with something positive. And that's where gratitude comes into play. Because no matter where you're at on your life, no matter how terrible things seem right now, you have something to be grateful for. Whether that be a roof over your house, or all of you are listening to this podcast on something, whether it be a computer, whether it be a phone. So that's something to be grateful for. There's always something to be grateful for. And when you're grateful, when you're in a moment of gratitude, it's impossible to be negative at the same time. Try it. It's really impossible. So, remember, no amount of regret can change the past. No amount of anxiety can change the future. But any amount of gratitude can change the present. Don't be so stressed out and worried about life that you forget to live your life. And go out today and do one thing that's going to take you one step closer to where you want to be.